Felice HD, and I am back again. I am so super excited. I cannot wait to finish this season three recap. And I'm going to do all of binge watch all of the previous episodes and do those as well. We are on season three, episode seven. And let me tell you something, the shy did not come to play. Okay. This episode was epic for one reason only. We see Keisha is free, right? Ah! There were so many quotables in this episode that just took my breath away. First of all, can we get into how Ronnie is on the road to redemption? He's been baptized. Um he took grandma out for her night on the town before it was her waking hour. I mean, he is really coming into his own space, and he's very inspired. He's much more motivated. He's drinking like a fish. And Jada also pulls him up on that. Like, listen, what's going on? You gonna go back to having your drinking problem or what? I hope he doesn't get triggered to go back into a lifestyle of drinking too much, now that Miss Ethel's gone. But let me tell you something. I am so super excited to see what is gonna go on the rest of this season. Make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we are gonna get into what's really going on. Now, was anybody else like I was yelling at the screen? I watch the Shy on the Showtime app, which I love, by the way. And let me tell you something, when Keisha came out in that street and it was that moment where you could hear the sirens in the background, I was like, yes, yes. Because guess what? She ain't have to run this time. She beat the brakes off that dude. When she saw that crowbar, Ronnie didn't have to do a thing else. She snapped. And I think what was so epic about that scene is the fact that things were brewing, okay? You could kind of tell that this was about to come to a head one way or another just because, I mean, she had tried to escape before. She was actually pulling together a noose. Like, I was really just hoping that she was going to make it out alive because her mom was really holding out hope. Everybody was really starting to get concerned as time went on, but Ronnie knew, and that intuition was second to none. That was divine. Dre even said, God is real. I was so happy to see her make it out of that. But the concern is a little different now because we saw one of the nurses give Dre the heads up, like, listen, keep your eye on her because sometimes when people go through stuff like this, you know, it could be a little too traumatizing. And sometimes, there's other issues that stem from that. And so, it's going to be interesting to see what the remainder of this journey is going to be for Keisha, especially with her preparing to move into adulthood and, dealing with the newness of the family dynamic now that her mom's married. And I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how this incident is going to change her. Now, we don't really know for certain. They didn't really show what happened to her abductor, but I think it's safe to say that she took him out because we didn't see him get on no gurney, and she was doing damage with that crowbar. Ronnie looks to be okay, and the touching scene between him and Kevin was actually, it was necessary because I think once Kevin found out that he was responsible, he gave him, sort of the nod, like, I really don't, fool with you. That was obvious from before when the whole situation happened with Cookie. And then, with the shooting, with the whole situation with Brandon getting involved and all that. So I don't think that this cancels out the bad blood that is between Ronnie and Kevin, but I do think that, it does, it was definitely a nod. He was like, look, I appreciate you, bro. Kevin is turning into such a little man. Speaking of moving and transitioning into manhood, he got out of that situation with Gemma's dad in the nick of time because I think Gemma's dad was about ready to cut him. He was like, "So you was gonna try to fuck my daughter?" Like, oh, I was like, "Oh Jesus!" She was like, she gave it a look like when okay. So we're gonna touch on this right now because Kevin was done with Gemma. He was like, "Listen, stay out my lane," and she was just like, you want to come over? But it wasn't, but the way she did it, like you knew that she meant come over, come over. And he was like, bad. Like, I was like, oh God. She is getting ready to give him the draws. But then what got me right in the nick of time, Pops came home. She heard that door. They were undressing. She heard that door. She was like, act normal. So she's sitting at the computer. They pretended to study, but then the father sees Kevin don't even have the right book. He was like, "Slim, come with me." Like, I really think they're gonna have a reckoning. I think that the father probably let it go given the circumstances. Like his sister who's been missing for weeks at this point. Um, has been located and she's alive, So yeah, I mean that was not the time to have that conversation, but that is definitely a conversation that I believe they are going to have. Why? Because it's a worthwhile conversation. He's gonna want to know what are your intentions with my daughter. So I think that's fair. I just hope he doesn't, go upside his head because clearly that's his little angel. So Gemma better be careful. She gonna lose Kevin one way or another. Because if Pops get the cracking, please. Another just I'm gonna before I even start down this road. I love Emmett. I think he is so dope. I love to see how they're capturing his story because one of the things that they have to be very careful about on TV is not to villainize people to the point of, just the point of no return. He has his flaws, and I think he's ready to confront his flaws. I don't think he necessarily knows what to do about where he falls short in life, but I think he's ready to at least take a look at it because I think he does. I think he wants to separate and distinguish himself from his dad's toxic patterns, and he doesn't want to follow in his footsteps. But I don't think he knows how. So he was able to get to the bag, and he led Dom to the promised land. They got their business up and running. They have gotten. They've commandoed the location for Sonny's. But the problem that I have with the situation is that he gave Tiff his word that he was going to be faithful, and meanwhile, he done thrown Dom up on the counter. Like I was like, hot, sexy, steamy, all that, but I don't know what the repercussions are going to be. I was rooting for you, Emmett, and you just screwed up. He just screwed up really bad. Like I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know cuz I mean Tiff was trusting him. She was believing in him, and now they've moved into Emmett's mom's house, and I don't know like what's gonna happen at this point because I think Tiff is already scared, but she was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. She really wanted to give him a chance to, really be the man that I think she really believes that he is. But man, it was a congratulatory hug. It started out that way. And then him and Lala, oh Lord, I keep saying Lala. Dom's Dominique's character, oh my gosh. My heart broke. My heart broke watching that scene because I was thinking to myself, like, number one, this is wrong for so many reasons. You don't mix business with pleasure. Like, I feel like they about to mess up that money now because it's feelings involved. They didn't got active on a whole nother level. So, I don't know how they're gonna manage that business, those business transactions. And then Tiff is about it. So I wouldn't put it past her coming up in there ready to go upside Dominique head, even though Emmett wrong. I think she will probably want to square up with Dom just off GP. Like, I let you in. I recommended you, and you gonna come in here and smash my man. Like, oh man, I think I think Dom and Tiff gonna square up. But what I think is going to happen also, because prior to that, I don't know if it was it episode 3 or 4, we see the handsome Corey Hardwick surface. He all in Tiff's mix. So I feel like what's gonna happen is she's gonna be so hurt that Emmett Ballface lied to, well, I don't think he Ballface lied, but he lied. He said he was gonna hold it down, and then he ends up all in Dom's mix. So guess what? I think Tiff is gonna smash Corey Hardrick's character. I think she gonna go at it because he was coming at her. He was like, "Look, what's good? Like, your man taking care of you." I wouldn't fault Tiff if she should take it like a woman. She should just be like, "All right, bet," and then I'll be back. Because I think she wanted to. When he propositioned her before, I think she wanted to, but she was just like, "Nah, Emmett is my man. I'm gonna stay in my lane." This whole situation with Dominique, that's gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen when Tiff find that out, because she gonna find out. Because just like if Emmett don't tell her, Dominique is gonna let her know, because she's that girl. She's that type of person. She already walked up in Sunny's and was like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, she's that type of person where I believe once she get in her feelings, she decides that Emmett's going to become hers. She's gonna let Tiff know, like, "Oh yeah, nah, we're not just business partners." I believe that. So let's fast forward to the whole journey of Jake. Oh my gosh, this child is so he is being faced with so many adult issues, and I think they all are to a certain extent. This is such a coming of age type of flair with the trio, with Kevin, Papa, and Jake. I love their chemistry. I love how they vibe, but they are growing up in so many different aspects. I mean, we see Jake is really having an inner crisis, and everyone is so busy jockeying for position in his life that nobody's really speaking to it. I think Trig is trying, but Jake has a wall up, when it comes to him, at least anyway. So there's a little bit of tension between him and Duda, and his wife is definitely picked up on it. She was like, "Look, he's sour with you because he feel like you killed his brother," and I don't like how Duda responded to that. I think telling him why, or at least giving him an explanation. I don't feel as though he told him everything. I think that might have been the PG-13 version, or what he cared to share. But I don't think that Jake having an explanation as to why Reg is dead is going to change how he feels about it. I think he's starting to realize that getting too close to Duda is not a good or safe place to be. People get hurt when they're close to him. People end up incarcerated when they're close to him. And he's in a position of power, yes, but I think he's starting to see the flaws that Duda has. Even though he is extremely powerful, he doesn't necessarily justify the means or the methods that Duda has taken to achieve this level of success. So I get it. He questions whether Duda is even a worthwhile person to look up to at this point. But I do think that he still has maintained a certain level of respect for him. He's just trying the boundaries a little bit because he doesn't want to just blindly respect him anymore. He feels resentment, sort of, and it's coming across like, "Hey, look, get out my face. Like, I'm gonna deal with you, but I'm gonna deal with you at a distance. I'm gonna deal with you, on my own terms at this point, because you know, he's definitely being somewhat standoffish, but I think the conversation that they had, even though it was awkward, I think it was necessary for him to at least speak to it. Now, I don't know that Jake is necessarily going to feel any different about the situation, but his wife was like, look, don't say nothing when he tried to come for your head because that was his brother, you know. I'm like, she ain't never lied there. I mean, because I don't think Jake is as hardcore as you know, a lot of the other characters in the show. But as he grows and he continues to be exposed to these things, I definitely think he has the potential to be as hardcore as his brothers, if not worse. Now, Trig, he put the bug in his ear about Doodah and Reg beforehand, but I think that it really hit home when Doodah spoke to it, even more so because I think he needed to, you know, it spoke to the intention behind it. Like he already knew from Trig that that's what happened, but um Duda was giving him like the okay, this was getting ready to get out of hand. It wasn't even personal. Like it felt like politician talk to me. And that's not the only politician talk that was in this episode. Now, this whole, we find out that Gemma's dad is going to vouch for Duda. He's on team Otis Perry. He has given him the nod over Camille. And Camille is like, hey, whatever, game on. I think, honestly, I think this is going to be like one of those like War of the Worlds type situation because we've already seen that on the grassroots level, Papa's dad, the pastor, has vouched for Camille. And then we have Gemma's dad, who comes in, you know, off the money train and vouches for Duda. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like there's a lot of attention. There's something brewing here with this election. So I hope that as the season continues, we'll see, you know, who the people have chosen. I like the whole scene where they had the get together. Everybody was dressed really nice. It was definitely indicative of, you know, let's network, let's have business, and then you have the connection with Emmett's business transaction with Dom, and they actually provided the food for it, which I thought was great because that's like showing that support for those black dollars, and everybody enjoyed the food. They loved it. He got to cut that check. Okay. So they doing big things. But you know, even behind the scenes a little more, I don't know. I feel like something's brewing. I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how that transpires. Now, lastly, I definitely have to point out how freaking creepy that whole situation was before it ended. I don't know whose idea it was to, you know, make like the wood paneling and the, you know, just the whole environment of that basement area where the doctor had Keisha. It was just so troubling. When the episode started, you see he's made his way to her bed and he's all cuddled up with her, and it's just like he just continues to come deeper and deeper and closer into her personal space, and he's been combing her hair, he cut her hair, um but now he's in her bed, you know, and I just feel like this is moving towards something. So I'm really glad that she made it out alive because, you know, the other young lady that they found, you know, she didn't. And the rescue was actually, it was gripping. Okay. I was rooting for Ronnie. I was like, yes. When he got to the top of those stairs and he was like, Keisha, and she answered, I was like, oh yeah, it's going down. Okay. It is going down. And so when he came in there and rescued her, I mean, I just couldn't have been happier. I didn't like the circumstances. I think they really did work as a team, but I think it's the best, probably one of the best outcomes that we could have hoped for, because it wasn't looking good for a while. I thought we were going to lose Keisha. I was really happy to see that work out. Uh, let's see. I can't think of any more highlights, honestly. I really did enjoy this episode a lot. I thought it was a turning point in a lot of ways. We saw the pastor and Papa go to Maisha's home and give her the collection money, give that to her mom who lost her job. I thought this is another example of they're just coming of age, they're just growing up. Papa is just he just becomes just such a stand-up guy towards Maisha, and I just love that about their connection. She just told him, he came there one day to walk her to school, and she was like, look, my mom lost her gig. I gotta watch my brothers and sisters, so I can't go to school. And he was just like, did the principal tell you that you but need to go to school? She was like, bruh, look, the way my household is set up, I gotta watch these babies, so I'm gonna head out. And he was troubled by that. He was like, oh my gosh, like he really kicked it in gear to hold things down for her. Like he is really just, oh my gosh, their little romance is just so innocent and pleasant, and they're just so kind towards one another, and it's just so cute. I love it. Now he comes there with his father, and Maisha was like, bruh, get lost. Like her mom was like, look, we're not taking no handouts, we all right. And he was like, look, we leaving this money here, okay, and you can let me know if you need anything else. And Papa was looking at her like, I got you, boo. I was like, hey, Papa in the house. Papa was like, let's run that up, because I gotta make sure my baby great, okay? A little bit about the journey with Kevin. I feel like he's above happy to see his sister back, even though they have this, sibling weird relationship. He was just like, she is here, she's back. He's happy, he's relieved. I think that this is really going to be a it's going to bring their family unit together um a lot more, because I really was thinking that wasn't the only turning point that was happening with this situation with Keisha being missing, because I mean, Dre and Nina, they just really kind of, came off of the honeymoon phase, and then they went right into this tragedy. So it was trying the fabric of their relationship really bad, to the point that, Keisha actually made her way home in the nick of time, because I mean, the bags were packed. There was some, harsh verbal exchanges, and it was just not a good look for their marriage. I'm happy that she's back. I just wonder, if there's any turmoil associated with what has happened to her, if it's going to be continue to be a strain on the relationship with Nina and Dre, or if they will now come together in a whole new way, with a newness that, didn't exist before, and maybe just kind of move forward from this with a different appreciation for one another. So we will see. We definitely will see. Make sure you tune in next week. I will leave my recap on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and get those notifications so you can be the first one to view. I appreciate you. Peace and blessings. Till next time.